Now, the U.S. Special Envoy for the Great Lakes region of Africa, Perriello, is calling for an immediate internationally mediated dialogue to help resolve the political and humanitarian crisis in Burundi. VOA's Rwema reports.
The situation in Burundi is incredibly fragile as a political crisis, a humanitarian crisis, and a security crisis. We see escalating violence each night in certain neighborhoods of Bujumbura, both against and by police officers and state security forces. And we all know if left alone, this is going to get even worse. So we have to begin immediately an internationally mediated, inclusive dialogue that gives us a peaceful solution out of this so that the people of Burundi can get back on the path of progress that they'd been on for 15 years.
The Burundian government officials insist that they're ready to dialogue, but this dialogue should be inter-Burundi dialogue mediated by Burundians themselves. What do you say?
Well, all forms of dialogue are valuable, and that can certainly be part of the process, but the Burundian people really do not want war, and as a practical matter, they want a dialogue that has a chance of bringing peace to their country, and everybody agrees, including the African Union in a very strong statement this weekend, that has to be internationally mediated to make sure all stakeholders feel safe, feel like it's a fair platform, and all issues can be discussed.
What has been the U.S. role in as far as enforcing and ensuring that this internationally mediated dialogue is in place?
Well, you know, as I said to many of the Burundian government officials when I was there, you know, what we've tried to do is give our best advice, and we believe that if that advice had been taken a year ago, we would be talking about targeted investments, not targeted sanctions in Burundi. We would be talking about Burundi as a model, not as a cautionary tale. So we stand ready to support anyone from the East African community or the African Union who is ready to move forward with a dialogue that has a chance of success. And this is a practical issue, not an ideological issue. What is it that creates a forum that could actually bring this crisis to a resolution? And whether that's in Kampala or in Addis, we will support the AU and the EAC in finding a solution to this crisis.
The EU has imposed sanctions on various Burundian officials. The African Union has threatened to impose sanctions to people who are involved in escalating violence. The US previously also said that it will be imposing visa sanctions. What is it that the US is doing?
Well, we've already eliminated a number of forms of aid, but we want to still find ways that we can support the people of Burundi while holding accountable those in the government and the opposition who are resorting to violence and other tactics that are across the bounds of what's allowed. And in that sense, we strongly support the European Union and the African Union in pursuing targeted sanctions, Article 96 measures, and other things. The goal here is to get the talks started and to find a resolution to those talks, and that's what the people of Burundi deserve, and we will stand in partnership and consider all of our policy options as we try to support that result.
Some critics have said that the East African community is not credible enough to mediate the talks because the bloc itself is divided on what is happening in Burundi.
Well, we certainly support in general the principle of subsidiarity, that we should go towards the local and regional body, but where those regional bodies cannot solve the problem, either from capacity or from being too close to the situation, you can see that leadership elevated to an African Union level. You certainly saw an incredibly strong communique from the African Union this weekend, but everybody's preference would be for the East African community to lead this effort.